about, you made a tweet the other day talking about China and the United States and some of the investments that China was making in Africa. And you made a comment like, well, China is better for us than the United States. Can you talk about that a little bit? Just your thoughts there?
Okay. The reason why I say China is better than the US for us is because if you look at it today, what the US is advocating in Africa is sustainable development goals, everything tied to climate change. And an example, China is working. They have this the roads and bridges initiative. They are doing a lot of good work. They're building bridges, they're building roads, they're building railways, they're building airports, uh, power plants. They're doing a lot of good. Like, okay, and then their loans are very cheap compared to the US, the IMF or World Bank loans. So you cannot compare the two. Maybe I think about 2.5% interest compared to IMF 5%, almost 5%. And then, so the IMF tells Africans, for example, last year they were telling our government, okay, you need to sell like you need to sell petrol and diesel at a higher price. You need to stop subsidizing that given amount. You need to subsidize like okay. So anyway, what happened is the government said no, we're not going to listen to you guys because how we're going to develop our community, our economy is by using lots of fossil fuels, by using petrol. If we're going to make petrol very expensive for most people to afford them, we're going to have poor transport. Most people are not going to travel. They're not going to jobs. They're not going to everything coming from an example fertilizer coming from the port all the way to where we live, about 500, about 1,000 kilometers away. It's going to be very expensive. So once, but once petrol prices go up, everything else goes up. Almost everything else goes up anyway, unless you're getting it from the farm. Actually, even getting it from the farm means, like, if I'm going to use fertilizer, fertilizer is going to be expensive. So once I harvest my crops, I'm going to sell my produce at a higher price. So that's what the IMF does. If like it's going Most of the time it tells the government you need to pay your loans, and one of the best ways for you to pay your loan is to tax more, especially reduce your subsidies when it comes to fertilizers and petrol. And that's not a good thing. So China, they don't do that. An example, they build as the SGR. SGR is a very great infrastructure, a very good investment for Kenya as a country. It's going to help us in so many ways. That's what the Chinese are doing. They want us to develop so that they can sell us their goods. The US is doing the opposite. They do not want us to develop. That's the difference between those two. And also Russia. Russia is giving us fertilizers at a very cheap price. Some other times they say, okay, like I think 2 weeks ago they gave us fertilizer, 32,000 tons of nitrogenous fertilizer. That's a good thing for us. So Russia is looking at the problem at the core, the root. The US is saying, okay, we're going to give you food, we're going to give you aid, food aid, and they do that. Okay, I'm not saying giving us food aid is bad, but Russia is doing the opposite. They're teaching a man to fish, to, is it fishing? Yeah, to fish.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking of. It's like teach a man to fish and he can be fed forever. Give a man a fish and he's fed for the day.